Coming up tonight on Newsvision, how the economy might affect this year's student enrollment.
And UM will have several high-profile visitors this week. Some students renting off campus are getting ripped off and kicked out of their homes.
It was a wacky week on the sports scene. I'll tell you why South Florida was right in the middle of it.
And a popular game may be hazardous to your health. Newsvision starts right now.
Live from the studios of the School of Communication at the University of Miami, this is Newsvision, a production of UMTV.
Hello and welcome to Newsvision. I'm Jenna King.
And I'm Ryan Hughes. Thank you for joining us. The Center for Housing Policy, a federal agency, reports that nearly 20% of all foreclosures are on properties that someone is renting. UMTV reporter Gabby Loria tells us how that statistic is hitting close to home here at the University of Miami.
That's right. Imagine coming home after class one day only to find a 24-hour eviction notice posted on your front door. It's happening to UM students right here whose landlords have been keeping them in the dark about what's really going on with the property. Jamie Jaramillo was excited to wrap up her senior year at UM.
Your last month is kind of like your hurrah, and my last month has been like the worst month, basically, of my life.
Sleeping on a cot in the living room, boxes of stuff everywhere, all because 6 days before our interview, Jamie and her roommates were served with this.
And we found the sticker with this folded underneath that's final notice of eviction.
It's not as uncommon as you'd think. Students leasing homes off campus only to find out their landlord has been pocketing the rent money and keeping quiet about an impending foreclosure.
We paid everything on time, and we were perfect with that. And then the fact that our owner wasn't, and that we were gonna possibly throw on the street because the guy that we're paying the bills isn't paying his bills.
Dylan Brooks and his roommates went through a similar situation with their landlord 3 months ago.
We trusted him, and we were getting screwed there.
I'm so enraged because basically she was stealing our money.
They can look you in the eye and lie to you, then, I don't know.
Yep. Different house, same story with Mike Tallhook and his roommates.
Later kept saying everything's going to be fine, the letters are going to stop coming, but they kept coming month after month.
3 separate incidents sounding all too familiar.
It was horrible because we had to move everything out of our house in like 3 days.
The last thing I need to do is worry about deadlines and stuff for my classes while I'm basically being kicked out of my house.
I graduate in a month and I have like so much work to do, but my work is coming second.
Mike and Dylan found new homes, but Jamie is still feeling shut out. She's staying at the same house under an extension from the bank.
On a daily basis, I'm talking to at least 10 realtors. I'm constantly, during my free time, looking, Googling, Craigslist, everything, and there's nothing.
Jamie's old house behind me here is, of course, off campus, which means the university is very limited in the ways it can help out with these situations. Unfortunately, there's not much renters can do once the banks become involved in foreclosures. All 3 students I talked to did say they considered filing a civil suit against their landlord, but said the time and money required in that legal process just wasn't worth it. Back to you.
What a tough situation for those students. Thank you, Gabby. Well, if you are living off campus and are concerned that your landlord might not be paying the mortgage, here are some red flags that the property might be headed into foreclosure. If the rent seems like it's too good to be true, it probably is. If the landlord takes a long time making repairs on the home, or if he avoids putting work into the house altogether, and if the owner is difficult to locate in person or on the phone. These are all signs that can tip you off to an impending foreclosure.
The former CEO of General Electric, Jack Welch, along with his columnist wife Susie, will be the headliners at UM's 2009 Spring Convocation. In his 20-plus years with GE, Jack Welch raised the company's market capitalization from $13 to $400 billion. Known for his straight-talk business style, he was named Fortune magazine's Manager of the Century. Susie Welch is a columnist for Oprah magazine.
At the convocation, the couple will speak about the myths of success. The event slated for Thursday, April 30th at 5 p.m. in the brand new University of Miami Fieldhouse.
The only blind person to ever climb the highest mountains on each of the 7 continents comes to the University of Miami tomorrow with an inspirational message. Eric Weihenmayer skied down the tallest peak in Europe and guided blind Tibetan teenagers to above 21,000 feet on the north side of Mount Everest. Weihenmayer's talk called Using Adversity as an Advantage is tomorrow at 4:30 at the Bill Cosford Cinema.
Colleges all over the country have been cutting expenses because of the economic recession and the stock market dive. Now many are worried about enrollment drops. UMTV reporter Josh Knight has the story on how the University of Miami's future enrollment may be affected.
It seems like a quiet morning on the University of Miami campus, but we're about to find out this isn't true. Right now, over 200 people are getting ready for campus tours. The economy is hitting just about everyone pretty hard, but in the admissions office, so far things look pretty good. Admissions counselor John Nolan gives us a look at some of the numbers.
We still received an extremely healthy number of applicants to the university this year, nearly 22,000 applicants, which is right on par with what we saw last year as well. So our quality of students that we accepted has actually gone up. Our percentage is generally around the same 37–38% of our acceptance rate.
And looking at all these prospective students and their families, you might not even think twice about an economic recession. But admissions officers are certainly getting questions about financing.
This year there are more questions about the FAFSA, their overall need, and so then we've had to, help students and families then talk to financial aid.
But nonetheless, the tour groups seem to go on and on and on. But how many of these students will actually come to the University of Miami when it comes down to it?
It'll be interesting to see. We're optimistic though. We believe we have a strong product and a strong brand here, and we're doing some great things.
Even though admissions officers are optimistic, they'll really begin to get an idea of how many students will actually be attending in the fall come May 1st with the deposit deadline.
That last week of April here, in 2 weeks or so, is really where we're going to know how the class is shaping up.
The story around the admissions office for now is hard work and optimism. But the real story will be told in a couple of weeks, and then again in August. For UMTV, I'm Josh Knight.
Well, the University of Miami has decided on an image change. The current bar logo will be replaced by the split U athletic symbol. University administrators say that the athletic logo will better represent Miami's improved research program and the student body. Studies suggest that prospective Hurricanes prefer the split U brand when compared to the old Miami bar.
Getting to Coconut Grove on the weekends just got a lot tougher for some. The free bus ride is no more. UMTV reporter Julie Phillips has more on the story.
The administration surprised students in announcing the permanent cancellation of the IBUS ride last week. Students received an email notifying them that the decision was made because of students abusing the service and violating rules. Student body president Lionel Moyes said the decision was not unexpected.
And this is after warnings that we have been given basically every year, so this was probably about the last straw.
Bus monitor Leslie Ellis understands the rationale behind the decision too, with 3 incidents in one weekend leading up to it.
I mean, when you don't obey the rules, there's got to be consequences and they have to be enforced.
Students just need to be reminded that, this is a free program, this is a privilege, and to just have some self-control on the bus.
Students across campus are not pleased with losing the free shuttle, and some don't understand the severity because they have never had a bad experience on it.
I think it's a pretty terrible decision.
No, I've actually never seen any people throwing up or being rowdy on the bus.
Though every time I've been on there, it's been really calm and quiet because everybody's wasted.
The loss of a safe ride system to Coconut Grove has raised concerns over student safety.
Because it might encourage behavior like driving while drunk.
Especially with female students, after having some drinks and the possibility of other individuals wanting to take advantage of that state.
It's going to take more money to go to the Grove, and it's going to encourage more people to drive drunk.
The future for the IBUS ride, though, for next year is still up in the air.
And this was originally a student government initiative 8 years ago, and we do need to save it.
But for now, students must cope without their so-called beloved drunk bus. For UMTV, I'm Julie Phillips.
Coming up after the break, crew members of the Maersk, Alabama are reunited with their families.
And a Pulitzer Prize winning Miami writer has some words for future journalists. We'll be right back.